You are already at war. You don't feel the blood, but it's there. You don't hear the screams, but they echo. Every morning you wake to a battlefield, not of clashing steel, but of choices, to rise or rot, to fight or fold, to live with purpose or drown in the chaos of a world that wants you soft, distracted, owned. 2,000 years ago, a Roman slave turned philosopher wrote, "You are a little soul carrying around a corpse." Epictetus wasn't insulting you. He was screaming a truth we've buried. You are not your body, not your cravings, not your pain. You are the commander of it all, but you've forgotten how to lead. Today, we remember. Insight. 1. The sword doesn't care about your feelings. The samurai called their katana the soul of the warrior, not because it was sacred, but because it was indifferent. A sword doesn't hesitate, it doesn't fear, it cuts, or it fails. No excuses. Your discipline is that blade. When you hit snooze, when you quit the rep, when you let your focus shatter, you're not being kind to yourself. You're dulling your edge. The Stoics had a name for this. Akrasia, weakness of will, the cancer of the soul. A warrior's first truth. You are what you do, not what you feel, not what you intend. Every skipped workout, every missed hour of study, every promise broken to yourself, that's the sword rusting in your hands. In feudal Japan, a master swordsman would spend hours polishing his blade, not for beauty, but to test his patience. A single speck of dust left unchecked meant death in battle. Your discipline is no different. Sharpen it daily, or bleed on its edge. Insight. 2. Control is a lie you tell children. The Spartans trained their boys by starving them, not to be cruel, to teach them the only law that matters. You control nothing, only your response. Modernity sells you the opposite. Take charge of your life, manifest your destiny. Lies. You don't control the economy, the weather, the driver who cuts you off, the diagnosis, the betrayal. What's left? Your breath, your focus, your next move. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote in the mud of a battlefield, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When the Mongol horde stormed Asia, they didn't curse the winter. They rode through blizzards, turning frost into fuel. Stop raging at storms. Build a shelter. Insight. 3. Suffering is the tax. The samurai had a ritual, misogi, standing under freezing waterfalls at dawn. Why? To court discomfort, to pay the tax of resilience before life demanded it. You think you deserve a life without pain? Then you deserve nothing. Every warrior code, from Sparta to Kyoto, agrees. Suffering isn't unfair, it's the price of existing. The Stoics called it amor fati, love your fate, even when it cracks your ribs. In the Himalayas, Sherpas carry impossible loads over deadly passes. They don't curse the weight, they sing to it. The soldier who hates the rain drowns. The one who embraces it learns to drink. Insight 4. You will die. Act like it. In the Hagakure, the samurai manual of death, it's written, meditate on your mortality daily, not to scare you, to free you. Your deadlines? Meaningless. Your pride? A joke? Your obsession with being liked? A shackle. The moment you grasp that you're already dead, that this breath could be your last, fear evaporates. Seneca put it bluntly, you're scared to die? Then you'll never begin to live. The Aztecs trained their warriors by forcing them to dig their own graves at dawn. A reminder, today is borrowed. What would you do if this were your final fight? Do that. Insight 5. Weakness is contagious. Starve it. The Vikings had a rule, Never let a wound fester. Cut it out, burn it, or it kills you. Your mind is no different. Doubt, laziness, self-pity. These aren't human, they're infections. The second you tolerate them, they spread. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, visualizing the worst-case scenario, not to fear it, but to harden against it. When Alexander the Great faced Persia's armies, he didn't hope for mercy. He burned his ships. No retreat, no weakness. Ask yourself every dawn, what if today destroys me? Then plan to survive it. Insight. 6. Silence is the anvil. Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman in history, spent years in a cave, alone, training, writing. The way is in training, he said, not in trophies, not in applause. You've forgotten how to be still, to sit with your thoughts instead of numbing them, to let boredom carve you into something sharper. The modern world shouts, hustle, grind, post, but the warrior knows noise is the enemy of depth. In the deserts of Egypt, ascetics would bury themselves in sand for weeks. No food, no water, just the raw furnace of their minds. Turn off the screen, walk, think, let your mind forge itself in silence. Insight. 7. You are what you refuse to do. In ancient Athens, a young man asked Socrates how to gain strength. Socrates took him to a river, held his head underwater and said, "When you want wisdom as badly as you wanted air, you'll have it." Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about refusing more, refusing distractions, refusing shortcuts, refusing to let your lesser self win. The samurai had a saying, "Victory is in the preparation, not the battle." When the Roman legions marched, they trained for years in full armor under the sun. They bled in practice so they wouldn't scream in war. What are you preparing for? Insight 8. The enemy is your teacher. Sun Tzu wrote, "Know your enemy, but first know yourself." The samurai took this further. They studied their rivals' tactics, not to mimic them, but to turn their strengths into weaknesses. Your procrastination, your fear, your excuses, these are not enemies. They are mentors in disguise. The Stoics believed every obstacle was fuel. A Roman general who lost his hand in battle forged an iron fist and returned to conquer. When you face resistance, ask, "What is this here to teach me?" Then strike. Insight. 9. The fire of discipline burns the unprepared. In Sparta, boys were thrown into the wild with nothing but a dagger. Return with food or don't return. There was no participation trophy. Survival was the test. Discipline is not a habit. It is a funeral pyre for the version of you that can't endure. The Vikings had a saying, "Iron sharpens iron. A man sharpens a man." If your life feels comfortable, you're not growing, you're decaying. The philosopher Zeno survived a shipwreck, lost everything, and founded Stoicism. He didn't rebuild his wealth, he rebuilt his soul. Burn what coddles you. Insight. 10. The path is walked with scars. The Cherokee ritual of going to water required warriors to submerge themselves in icy rivers until their skin cracked. The scars were proof they'd faced the cold and lived. Your failures are not shame, they are tattoos of survival. The Japanese art of kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold, celebrating its cracks. You are not broken, you are marked by experience. When Cato the Younger fell on his sword, rather than submit to Caesar, his last words were, "I am free." Not because he died, but because he chose his scars. You want a different life? Then stop bargaining, stop negotiating. The warrior's path isn't a philosophy, it's a death sentence for the person you are now. Burn the boats. Dull blades get men killed. The Romans carved this truth into stone. If you want to live, you must first die. So die. Let the weakling, the procrastinator, the people-pleaser drown in yesterday's ashes. What's left will be harder, colder, truer. And when the world tries to break you, and it will, you'll finally understand. The warrior isn't born, he's forged. Now get to work.